Thank you, Rusty. Blake Buchanan will offer our invocation.
Thank you. If you'll please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and for this new month. We thank you for bringing us together and for allowing us to share this time in fellowship. We pray for the strength and guidance in all that you set before us each day. Let us continue to strive to make our homes a better place, to make our city and our state a better place, and to make this world a better place. Please help us to be mindful of others, their differences, and their needs. And we ask that you help us seek out ways to be of service to everyone that we meet. We thank you for the food that has been prepared and for those that have prepared and served it. We ask that you use it to nourish our bodies and give us strength to go out and do your good will in our community. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Blake. Nikki Hutchison is on her way up to introduce our visiting Rotarians and guests. We had a very successful fireside chat last Monday night. I want to thank everybody who came, both the past presidents and the new members and sponsors, everyone that came. We had a really good turnout. We had over 30 people and had a good time. So, Nikki.
Happy Monday, everybody. We have 3 visiting Rotarians. It looks like all 3 are from the Midlands. If you will stand when I call your name: Tony Thompson from the Capitol Club, Allison Hank from the Capitol Club, and Emerson Smith from 5 Points Club. If you'll stand, thank you. And I think Richard stands ready to acknowledge all of our members' guests, so please raise your hand if you have a guest.
I'm Wade Carlisle, and this is my guest, Tall Carlisle. He's my dad. I'm David Anderson, and I'd like to introduce my guest. It's Donna Lawless. She's the new executive director of the Killingsworth Home here in Columbia.
I'm Hunter Wilson. I'd like to introduce my guest, Jeff Hartung. He's a co-worker of mine that does HVAC controls, and one of his major projects right now is the renovation of the airport mechanical system. So look forward to having here from you, Mike.
I'm Libby Gober, and I'm delighted to have as my guest my son and his wife, my son and daughter-in-law, Bud and Charlene Murphy.
I'm Kay Shaw, South Carolina Department of Commerce, and I'm very pleased to have Dr. Sherry Rivers, who is the principal of Hayward Career Center in Richland School District 1.
Hello, my name is Anderson Bass with Joseph Bank Clothers, Forest Drive location. Today I have with me Anna Grubik. She is a career service manager for undergraduate students at the Baltimore School of Business here at the university. Also proud to say that she is my girlfriend, so glad that she be with us today. There you go.
Hi, I'm Jim Hamilton. I guess I'll introduce myself as a guest first. I don't attend very often anymore because I'm a caregiver for my wife. So, but I have today the honor of having a 3-decade Air Force veteran who is a veteran of World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Maynard Custworth, retired Lieutenant Colonel, U.S. Air Force.
I'm Robert Weston, and I'm delighted to have as my guest today Taylor Wolf. Taylor's a Columbia native, and he is a commercial real estate broker with Colliers International. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I've got my guest, Pamela Bino-Reed, who's back with us again. She was here last week. She just got her master's in organizational Professional Development, and she is job hunting right now. Thank you.
And I'm Louisa Campbell, and I'm delighted I have a bounty of guests today. They all work with our speaker, Mr. Gula. And first is Chappelle Broom. Chappelle. She is the HR and Diversity Director. And Dee Branham, who is the Executive Administrator to Mr. Gula. Joshua Davis, who is Manager of IT. And Joel Livingston, who is the Director of IT. And last but not, no, I've got two. Greg Hornsby, who's Director of Finance and Administration. And Frank Murray, who's Director of Planning and Development.
Last call, any other guests? Okay, thank you, Richard, and on behalf of Columbia Rotary, welcome to all of our guests.
Thank you, Nikki. Welcome to all of our visiting Rotarians and guests. It's good to have a full house here today. We have a special presentation about the Cart Gala. Tony Thompson is here from the Capitol Rotary Club. As Tony comes up to tell you a little bit about it, I want to remind you that your cart buckets are sitting on your tables, so please get generously. Tony?
You'll love that. You all have heard about what we're doing next week for the Cart Gala.
We can't hear
Can you hear me now? I need a stool. Now, everybody's heard about the Cart Gala we're going to have on the 17th at 7 o'clock, 1208 Washington Street. There should be a flyer on the table that tells you basically about it. One thing that we're doing right now, this week, on our last effort, we're doing well with our donations. This club here is a bunch of you stepped up to the plate, and we appreciate that. We'd like to see some more, of course, from other clubs. And what I want to say is this is not just Capitol Rotary's fundraiser for a car. This is the Midlands Rotary Club's fundraiser for a car. We don't want to take full credit. We want everybody involved. I'd love to see everybody's flag in the next year or so just along the wall with all the Rotary clubs in Columbia that support CAR. But what we're offering this week to law enforcement, active military, first responders, we're offering them 10% off in any amount for one ticket to a table. I think we have 1 or 2 tables left. So I believe y'all have heard probably enough of it, but I had to get that out. It's not just Capitol Club, it's the whole Columbia area, the Midlands area. And then the discounts for military, active military, I thought was important, and also the active military and law enforcement as well as first responders. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you, Tony. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate all the work that you and your team have put into this gala. And we hope that everyone will take a look at the flyers if you haven't already done so and support the CART Gala coming up on August 17th. Rusty DePass, where are you? Here you come. Rusty is going to offer our health and happiness today, so I think we'll all be in for a treat, as always. Welcome, Rusty.
Thank you, President Stephen. And I want to make one little personal remark about Anderson Bass introducing his guest, his girlfriend. When I was born, which was almost 71 years ago, our across-the-street neighbor was Anderson Bass's great-grandparents, whose name was also Anderson Bass, and he is the fourth. Great people, wonderful family. First, for our sad news, the widow of former member Marshall Mays, who died several years ago. Jane Brooks Marshall, who was married to Marshall Mays. Brooksy, as she was known, died on July the 25th. Her funeral service was last Friday. She was a cute lady who enjoyed every one of her 93 years. Is Chase Heatherly here today? Not here, okay. I'm told that COA today had a big feature on 5 points. Is Amy Beth here? Here we go. Congratulations to you. And I'm also told that Ed Davis, whose wife has been suffering from cancer, they've been out at MD Anderson, and she got a good report. So good for her. Since we have mentioned the military today, I want to mention that back in 1967, Herman James, a North Carolina mountain man, was drafted into the Army. And on his first day in basic training, the Army issued him a comb. That afternoon, they shaved off all his hair. On the second day, the Army issued Herman a toothbrush. And that afternoon, an Army dentist yanked out 7 of his teeth. On the third day, the Army issued him a jockstrap. And they've been looking for Herman for the last 51 years. Now this is somebody in Georgia sent me this morning. It's called the bad joke of the day. We'll see if you agree. A bounty hunter rode into town one morning and went to the sheriff's office. Anyone with a price on his head around these parts? Asked the bounty hunter. Well, said the sheriff, there's a $500 reward, dead or alive, for the brown paper kid. Brown paper kid? Who in tarnation is the brown paper kid? Well, sheriff said he's a varmint who wears a hat made from brown paper. His coat's made from brown paper. His shirts are made from brown paper. He wears pants made with brown paper. And his boots are made with brown paper. Well, said the bounty hunter, what's he wanted for? Sheriff said he's wanted for rustling. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty bad joke, too. All right, this is male-female logic. This is a conversation between a man and a woman. Please note that she asks 7 questions, which he answered very simply, and then she is speechless after answering only 1. I bet this happens more often than we realize. Critical thinking at its best. The woman says, do you drink beer? Talking to Adam Jordan, probably. Do you drink beer? He said, yes. How many beers a day? Usually about 3. How much do you pay per beer? Well, $5, which includes a tip. And how long have you been drinking? Well, about 20 years, I suppose. So a beer costs $5. You have 3 beers a day, which puts your spending each month at $450. In 1 year, it would be approximately $5,400, correct? And he says that's correct. If in 1 year you spend $5,400, not counting for inflation, the past 20 years puts your spending at $108,000, correct? And he says correct. Do you know if you didn't drink so much beer, that money could have been put in a step-up interest savings account after accounting for compound interest for the past 20 years? You could now have bought a Ferrari. So the man asks her, do you drink beer? The woman says no. The man says, then where's your Ferrari? You know, we all know people who try to rain on your parade all the time. And this is a quick story about a woman who went to her hairdresser before going on a trip to Rome. And she mentioned the trip to her hairdresser. And the hairdresser said, Rome? Why do you want to go there? It's crowded, dirty. You're crazy to go to Rome. So how are you getting there? She said, well, we're taking Continental. We got a great rate. Continental, said the hairdresser. That's a terrible airline. Their planes are old. Their stewardesses are ugly, and they're always late. Where are you staying in Rome? Well, we'll be at this little exclusive place over on Rome's Tiber River called Testa. Don't go any further. Hairdresser said, I know that place. Everybody thinks it's going to be something special and exclusive, but it's really a dump. We're going to see, she went on to say, we're going to the Vatican and maybe get to see the Pope. That's rich, said the hairdresser. You and a million other people trying to see him, he'll look about the size of an ant. Boy, good luck on this lousy trip of yours. You're going to need it. Well, a month later, the woman again came in for a hairdo. The hairdresser asked her about her trip to Rome. It was absolutely wonderful, said the woman. Not only were we on time in one of Continental's brand new planes, but it was overbooked. They bumped us to first class. The food and wine were wonderful. I had a handsome 28-year-old steward who waited on me hand and foot. And the hotel was great. They'd just done a $5 million remodeling job, and now it's a Jewel, the finest hotel in the city. They too were overbooked, so they apologized and gave us the owner's suite at no extra charge. Well, muttered the hairdresser, that's all well and good, but I know you didn't get to see the Pope. Actually, we were quite lucky because as we toured the Vatican, the Swiss guard tapped me on the shoulder and explained that the Pope likes to meet some of the visitors. And if I'd be so kind as to wait in this room off to the side, the Pope would personally greet me. Sure enough, 5 minutes later, the Pope walked through the door and shook my hand. I knelt down and he spoke a few words to me. Oh, really? What did he say? He said, who screwed up your hair? As a finale, I want to turn back to our special guests here, Jim and Maynard. And it's so good, Jim, to have you back with us. And Maynard, it's a special treat to have you. And I want y'all to know this part of it wasn't necessarily planned, but Jim is not able to come to Rotary much because he's at home with his wife who has Alzheimer's. Maynard has cared for and outlived 2 wives with Alzheimer's. So they know all about this horrible disease. I want to show you a video to give you an opportunity to learn what these guys have done since they retired, I guess you would say, and how they have contributed to their communities. They are part of the Flying Pheasants, the Jamil Shrine Temple's team of pilots that take people to burn centers, Shriners Hospital burn centers, and orthopedic centers and other types of hospitals all over the country. And I want you to know that Jim said to me when we were planning this that, of course, Maynard was in World War II, Jim was in Korea, as was Maynard, but that when somebody asked Jim, why would you jump out of a perfectly good airplane? His response was that the C-119 was not a perfectly good airplane, and he had also found out that Maynard Gutsworth was the pilot. So that's why he would jump out of a perfectly good airplane. Anyway, but if you would key that and let's take a look at what these guys do in their spare time, or have done in the past.
Gula ignition systems fired by Magneto.
2 legends of aviation giving back. Maynard Cusworth and Jim Hamilton served their country in uniform and now serve South Carolina families.
See the color coding? The blue.
Since 1974, they've led the Flying Pheasants.
Everybody got the bells on?
Pilots who donate their time to fly families to Shriners hospitals.
Those was in charge for treatment or transportation.
Ready to go, Maynard sits in the pilot seat. At the time of this flight, he was just a few days shy of his 89th birthday.
I don't think I'm to that point yet.
Not old timers yet.
Not that.
Okay.
Not old timers yet.
Good. Making this trip are Darby Weaver and Mom Tooney. Darby was severely burned when she was just 2 years old in a kitchen accident.
We're able to go up there and back and get what she needs done, which is absolutely state-of-the-art best she can get, and they make it be able to happen.
Today, they get to sit back while Maynard and Jim do the driving. Flying, that is.
Oh, frozen here.
Happy birthday to Jim. It's a trip they've made numerous times to the Shriners Burn Center in Cincinnati.
So much for the child and the family.
Two true patriots. Maynard served during World War II. Jim was in the Army during the Korean conflict.
74575, take a turn left, 2739, still the airport side.
Well, you know, all that she's been through with the surgeries and things isn't pleasant. But as pleasant as it can be, they know it.
After a little more than 2 hours, time to touch down in Cincinnati. A loving environment awaits. The Shriners facility sure doesn't seem like a hospital. Rooms all have themes. Kids' nerves are fatigued.
Pretty comfortable. I've been here for 10 years, so it's like a second home.
A comfortable place. Therapy dogs come to greet the kids and make new friends. Just one of the many touches that makes the Shriners Hospital special.
There are 21 Shrine hospitals in North America with an annual budget of over $800 million, all from contributions.
Jim and Maynard have taken kids to the hospital when the kids were very young. Now they receive high school graduation invitations and wedding invites from former patients.
Self-satisfying that you've done something for somebody else, and it's just a joy to see the people that we take up there.
Darby's road to recovery will be long, but the ride won't be bumpy. Her Shriners pilots will make sure of it.
I can't think of any place better that your money could go and that it's used to the good of saving lives and keeping families together.
I'm Ryan DeRoy of LiveShotMedia.com for the Shriners Flying Pheasants of Columbia, South Carolina.
Now I want to tell you just very quickly that I put a blurb about Maynard and an award that Jim got on each of the tables if you'd like to take a look. Jim is now 86 years old and Maynard is 97. And thank you both again for being here.
Thank you indeed. Thank you for being here today, Jim. We hope you'll come back again soon. Hope your wife is doing okay. Lieutenant Colonel Gusworth, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your service to this country and your continued service in retirement. That's spectacular, and it's a good example for all of us and the kind of things we can do outside of Rotary to make a big difference in somebody's life. Rusty, I want to tell you thank you as well for putting that together. That kind of came together quickly. And it goes along with our theme today, which is it's National Aviation Month, and I just found that out from our speaker, so kind of coincidental. But I'd like to welcome Anderson Bass up to the podium. She's been talked about a couple times today. He is going to be chairing our food packing project coming up on September 22nd, so he's going to tell you a little bit about it.
That is definitely going to be hard to follow. Thank y'all for having me give a few minutes to talk about the project that we have coming up. When President Stephen called me a couple weeks ago to chair and lead this, I couldn't have been more excited. On September 22nd, that's a Saturday morning for anybody that can check their calendars. That morning we're going to pack 10,000 meals for the homeless and less privileged. We're going to do this in a matter of 90 minutes. We're going to have fun doing it. That morning we're going to get going. Mr. Sewell's been nice enough to let us use the facilities here for that. We're going to get started around 8:30 that morning. Coffee, donuts, we'll have some music going. We want to invite anyone that can volunteer and give a couple hours that morning to help us out. We'll start at 9 o'clock, full intentions of being done around 10:30. We've got talk with Harvest Food Bank and a couple other nonprofits to help us distribute and help with those meals. Been in contact with the outreach program. They've set up all of our supplies for us, have everything ready. Pretty much what we need is just the club to help with the actual service of packing those meals. We figured that we need 4 or 5 volunteers that Friday afternoon. We're going to get everything unloaded out of the trucks. And I can let you know about the time of that Friday afternoon if anybody can help out, help Stephen and myself that afternoon to unload. Just get everything kind of in, get it set up so we'll be ready Saturday morning. Looking from anywhere from 40 to 50 volunteers at Saturday morning. A few people, if they can stay around afterwards to help pack up, that would be great. We definitely want to make this a club-oriented project. Friends and family, that would be fantastic. Whoever wants to help, who can be here. But the more the club jumps in, it'll be worthwhile in the long run. We're going to make it fun. We're going to get to know each other better. So that with that morning, we'll get it done and knock it out for them. I want to leave one thought with everybody today. At the end of the day, it's not about what you have or what you've accomplished. It's about who you've lifted up, who you've made better. It's about what you've given back. And that's by Mr. Denzel Washington. But I want to hope everybody has a blessed rest of the day and a good rest of the week. So, thank you.
Thank you, Anderson. Thank you for your leadership in taking that on. Just to recap, September 22nd, 8:30 in the morning, be here at Seawells. We're going to have a good time. We're going to make a big difference. We're actually packing macaroni and cheese, 10,000 meals. And the outreach program that Anderson referenced is a kind of a turnkey operation. There's a nonprofit they operate. They show up with the pasta and the mix and the bags, and literally we will just put on hairnets, get in 4 different assembly lines, and scoop and seal and distribute. So it's going to be a great thing, and I would really appreciate a lot of support. We're going to update the newsletter with Anderson's email, so you can reach out to him directly to sign up, and we will also have a sign-up sheet here at the meeting in the coming weeks. And now...
and I can definitely hang around after if anybody has any questions.
Anderson's willing to hang around after. You have a question, John?
Yeah. Do I understand correctly, the guy who started this nonprofit is a Rotarian?
That's correct. That's correct. Yes, you're exactly right. Thank you, John.
One guy announced the national program.
That's right. That's right. No, we'll bring more information on that in the coming weeks. Thank you for pointing that out. Matt Kennel is here to introduce our speaker. Matt.
No more jokes about the microphone being tall. I'm not going to say that. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm here to introduce today Mike Gula, who is the new Executive Director of the Columbia Metropolitan Airport. Prior to being named the CAE Executive Director, Mike served as the Director of Operations, Planning and Facilities from 2014 through 18, so he's not exactly brand new. He does have over 15 years of airport management experience and has worked at 4 commercial airports where he served as Director of Operations of the Bluegrass Airport, as the Operations Manager, and the Toledo Express Airport as the Manager of Operations and Cargo Development. Mike also has experience in the air cargo industry and has worked for Emirates, Sky Cargo, Globe Air Cargo, and LGSTX, which is a subsidiary of Air Transport Services. Mike holds a bachelor's degree from Bowling State University, where he majored in aviation management and operations. In 2010, he was fully accredited, my page here, as the American Association of Airport Executives, which is really notable because only 10% of all airport executives have received this designation. He was also recognized as a 40 under 40 category candidate in 2016 by Airport Business. Mike and his wife have a 9-month-old son and currently reside in Gilbert, South Carolina. So Mike, welcome. We're anxious to hear what you have to say, and I think he's going to make or repeat an announcement that was made recently that's really exciting. So stay tuned, it's going to be good.
Good afternoon. Over 1,800 full-time jobs, over 80 million in labor income, and 534 million in economic output. That's what CAE brings to the state of South Carolina. Again, I'm Mike Gula, the new Executive Director of CAE. I want to thank my commissioners for their support, as well as my wonderful staff for all their dedication and hard work. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today to talk to you about where the airport has been, the state of the airport now, and where we see things moving into the future. CAE is the gateway to the Columbia and the Midlands area. We are 100% self-sufficient. We receive no local or state tax dollars. We are a regional cargo hub, and over 132 million pounds of freight passed through CAE in 2017. As you can see from the figures, CAE is a huge economic engine. The jobs we support and the income we generate are only a part of what we bring to the state of South Carolina. 95% of the economic impact generated by CAE occurs within the Columbia metropolitan area, adding almost 4,000 jobs, approximately 170 million in labor income, and 832 million in total economic output. It is clear CAE is a massive economic driver to the Midlands region, an invaluable asset to the economic growth and sustainability of Columbia and the state of South Carolina. Still, we all know that air travel isn't always a pleasure. Public perception is sometimes really, really bad. You may have seen this clip from comedians Tripp and Tyler, outlining lots of the issues that passengers face.
Sorry, sir, you can't keep your bag there. You have to put it in the compartment.
Won't fit.
Try putting it in sideways.
I did. Ladies and gentlemen, there seems to be a small problem with the sunglasses compartment in the center console. We should have that problem fixed momentarily, and we'll be on our way. Thanks for your patience.
Can you put that in airplane mode for me?
It is.
That looks like Facebook.
It's just a game. We're currently fourth in line and should be on our way in about 20 minutes.
So, traveling for work or leisure?
For work.
What do you do?
I'm in sales.
What are your dreams and aspirations?
Just a little heads up, we have reached our cruising speed of 35 miles per hour, altitude about 0 feet. Let us know if there's anything we can do to make your drive back. Be sure to sign up for our Rotary program to collect thousands and thousands of wristbands. The screen's not working. Ma'am, can I give you this trash?
Oh, I'll be back shortly for trash. It's not trash time! Sir, would you like to buy some headphones?
Ma'am, can I get a bucket?
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we're arriving right on time, so I'm going to circle around about 4 or 5 times.
flying is not always a picnic. At CAE, we're doing everything possible to make things easy and convenient for the travelers. Most of you are familiar with our efforts and the services that we now offer. Let's start with air service connectivity. We average 30 daily nonstop flights to and from 9 hub airports in 8 major cities. With just one stop, our flights can connect to nearly 400 cities worldwide. For 2018, traffic is up 8%. We have over 50,000 more seats in the market than we had last year at the same time. Yet today, when airlines are facing a looming pilot shortage, many smaller communities are seeing a reduction in flights and the loss of service altogether. We continue to grow. This year, we're on pace to have our best year in over a decade. We expect to see over 1.2 million passengers through our airport this year. On June 7th, American Airlines began mainline service with 2 flights a day to Dallas-Fort Worth, replacing their 50-seat jets with 140-seat jets. They've done the same on many flights to Charlotte and one of their 3 to Washington, D.C. It has been nearly 3 decades since we have seen American Airlines fly that size aircraft in the CAE. The good news is, Delta's moving in the same direction. They're transitioning to all 100% mainline aircraft on all Atlanta flights starting this fall. That means larger, roomier aircraft with first class, Wi-Fi, and more overhead bin space. On August 1st, Air Wisconsin announced that they will be adding a crew hub base here at CAE. This will bring an additional 150 employees to the Midlands. Over the last decade, CAE has seen aircraft size increase by 35%, outpacing the national average for small hub airports. Larger aircraft are entering our market. Our ability to fill those aircraft is very important. Experts are predicting a national pilot shortage in the near future. Up to 42% of all U.S. pilots will retire over the next decade, leaving a shortfall of 14,000 pilots. But the airlines are adjusting to this threat by flying the larger aircraft with more capacity and less frequency. The good news for CAE is that we're a highly profitable market, which will keep us insulated from service losses. While it's great to see our current carriers continuing to grow, it's important that we continue to attract new low-cost carriers. That's the #1 request we hear from the members of the community. This is a priority. We are working hard to make it happen. Low-cost carriers are the fastest growing airlines in the United States. They are strategic in how they choose routes, cities, and the airports in general. It's known in our industry that it can take up to 10 years for an airline to collect the data, analyze population bases, demographics, and the servicing community as a whole. Our discussions with them about bringing their service to CAE have been encouraging. We are optimistic, and we look forward to see results in the near future. Now, let's look at some of the major projects we've had going on out there over the last several years. We just completed a $9 million taxiway rehabilitation project. We've replaced 5 out of our 7 jet bridges. We've renovated the terminal. We've removed the concrete planters in the lobby and the moving sidewalks in the connector. We've added all new directional signage, all new LED lighting, workstations and power pylons out in the concourse. And we also rehabbed the concessions area. We've also begun a mechanical upgrade, which is a multi-year phased approach. This includes all replacement of our air handler units, new cooling towers, chillers, an additional ice storage farm, and controls integration for optimum efficiency. Also, we are currently competing for $3 million in discretionary funding that recently became available through the FAA. We're not only upgrading facilities and aiming toward greater efficiency, we're also becoming more eco-friendly, and in the process, we are saving money. Working with SDNG, we began a solar initiative in 2016, funding a 1.38 megawatt solar farm on 5 acres on the south side of our airfield. We are currently seeing an average savings of $26,000 a month to our utility bills. Our campus-wide transition to LED lighting and over 2,800 fixtures is saving us an average of $11,000 a month. The next big project on the horizon is an inline baggage system that will allow all screening operations to take place behind the ticket counters, freeing up space for passenger queuing. All this adds up to over $35 million worth of capital improvement projects to ensure we remain competitive and efficient. So next, at CAE, customer service is very important to the staff, and we know it's important to the community. We host an array of activities throughout the year, and we are blessed to have the support of the USO and the terminal. They staff our information counter, but their primary function is to support and nurture the men and women in our U.S. military. Again, we are the only USO in the state of South Carolina at an airport. To make things easier for our frequent flyers, we've introduced a premier parking program. It's convenient with parking spots just outside of baggage claim. There's no concern about hourly or daily rates. The annual cost of this is $1,000. We also offer a fast lane option. There's no cost to participate in this particular service. And those who do will park in the surface lot at a reduced rate at $6 per 24-hour period. We currently have over 2,000 customers participating in this program. Other customer services include passenger and employee appreciation events, airport tours, Home for the Holidays, Wings for Autism, indoor and local art exhibits, free Wi-Fi, and a therapy dog program. As you can see, we're making every effort to bring the best to Columbia's flying public. Our facilities are first rate. Our flights and connections are plentiful, and they're continuing to grow. We're doing everything we can to add the convenience of flying from home. Still, we are eager for your ideas because we need the support of the entire community. We understand that our airline ticket prices may not always be less than surrounding airports, but they can't compete with our convenience or our first-rate service. We are Columbia's home airport. We make things easy for the flying public. We are an asset to Columbia's business community. We bring good jobs to great citizens. We enrich the economic life of Columbia and beyond. We hope you'll always consider CAE first when planning your business or personal travel. With your support and the commitment of the CAE staff, we will continue to provide first-rate service, continue to grow, and continue to be there when you need us. Without the long drive, without the frustrating traffic, without the remote parking hassles. With your help, we won't just be an asset, we'll be a diamond to the community. Thank you.
Mike, how was our airport compared to Myrtle Beach, Spartanburg, Greenville, and Charleston? How we compare?
The way we compare in the industry is based on enplanements. So we've got GSP up the road, they're doing about 1.1 million enplanements a year. Charleston's knocking it out of the park. Myrtle Beach, I mean, obviously they're a destination area, so they're a little higher than us as well. But I feel for a small hub airport, we compete very well. And we're lucky to be in the state of South Carolina.
Could Air Wisconsin coming lead to more competitive prices, especially for Chicago?
We do believe so. Just some conversations with them here recently with the announcement. It is going to add capacity to our market. Just not sure what size aircraft yet.
What about your therapy dogs? How does that integrate into what you're doing?
It's part of our customer service campaign. So we've got, I think there's 8 trainers now that'll bring therapy dogs out, and a lot of it's to support the soldiers.
You touched on the big issue, which is that our fares always seem to be higher than the
surrounding markets. I know that's totally beyond your control.
Yeah.
What do you think is the cause of that? Why do the airlines seem to price us that way?
We're stuck in a difficult position. You know, I've heard lately, you know, people are saying, well, I can fly cheaper out of Augusta. The issue we have there, we're not competing the same way Augusta's competing because they're so close to Atlanta. I mean, our fares are going to continue in general to be a little bit higher, but they've really come down, and that's why we're asking, please check us and see if it makes sense to not have to take the drive up north. Right now, I mean, we just ran numbers. I'm losing 52% of our Midlands area to Charlotte. It's supply and demand. The more people fly out of CAE, your ticket prices will come down because they're putting capacity into the market.
Well, parking questions.
Parking? I knew this. I mean, we're very competitive. A lot of times, you know, we're being compared to Charlotte. Well, Charlotte's prices are the same we have now. They just jacked their prices up last February. So with the fast lane option, I mean, we're giving you parking for $6 a day. And it's convenient. You know, you don't have to ride a shuttle into the airport. So I think, honestly, I mean,
option that I didn't quite understand.
the fast lane option. So if you go on our website, you can pull the application off that and send it into Republic Parking, and then you'll be set to go. But that's the best option we can offer right now. A lot of our revenue comes from parking. I mean, we can't just shut the lights off and give everybody free parking. That'd be going the wrong way for us. Yeah.
I fly to your airport probably once a week, and I think it's tremendously efficient, and customer service is top notch. So thank you. My only suggestion for you is on food. So maybe a Chick-fil-A or something in there. I'm certainly making a destination for my family. So just
We're working on that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're trying to get with our local concessions vendor and either team up with Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, or Dunkin' Donuts.
Why do people go to Charlotte to fly over there?
I don't know. It's a mindset that generally, I mean, in the past when our prices were higher, people have just got this mindset that, you know what, I'm not going to hassle with CAE, I'm just going to get in my car and drive up north. I don't agree with it. So.
Well, we did that in April. We drove up to Charlotte, flew to New York, but we're not going to do it again. It's too much hassle.
Appreciate
too much
it.
outlying parking.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Thank you.
out of the 1.1 billion passengers, how many are military for Fort Jackson?
Right now it's about 20% are military. So they're a big piece of our business.
Two things. First, I always fly out of Columbia. It does sometimes cost more, but the convenience of just pulling up, no shuttles, no traffic, easy in, easy out. I think they'll go for stuff. So thank you. Second, this is just curiosity. The moving conveyor belts, why did you do it?
They were at the end of their useful life, and it was going to cost $3 million to rehab them, and it's not that long of a connector. So.
It was a public health thing.
Yeah.
Another point, not a question, but I will just say that out of all the airports I've traveled in around the world, this airport is one of the most pleasant to be in. It's a really good environment. I really love our airport. I wish we had more opportunities cost effectively to fly out of there, so hopefully we'll have some success.
Sure.
With that.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Just to tee it up, I think George had the same question. When you talked about that fast lane parking thing, maybe you could explain to people what it is and what the advantage is on that.
I'll tell you what, I don't have all the information. I don't know if my staff, if anybody's aware on how the process works. I know I went in and filled out the application last week. I mean, for me, I work out there, so I just dropped it off to Republic Parking. But I can get more information and shoot it out to the group.
Yeah, but there's no fee for it?
There's no fee.
I have two two-part question. First, with everybody else, thank you for what you guys do. Your airport is amazing. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, and I moved here because I love the airport so much and the people. Like, honestly, I love it. But on that, you guys have an amazing art program within the airport, and I wanted to know, like, can we buy that art? Because I've seen a few pieces that I'm very interested in. And secondly, how come there's no internet connection when you're waiting for your baggage? Like, that's, it's just like a dead hole down
You're
there.
sitting right next to my IT director.
Are we talking Wi-Fi or are we talking AT&T?
I just don't get any connection, like phone service or anything.
So
I gotta walk out in the street.
We're in the process of working with AT&T. We have a distributed antenna system, it's on Verizon. We are trying to get AT&T to come on board. They are not showing any interest. So if you have cell phone coverage problems at my airport, please contact your cellular provider and tell them that you want it fixed. But we're trying to work with them.
All right, thank you all.
Mike, we appreciate you being here, and we'd love to have you come back and get an update on the airport as it continues to grow. You'll learn as you come back to the Columbia Rotary Club, you want to take up as much time speaking as possible so there's less time for because there are a few opinions in the room. We have a small token, literally, of appreciation for you. This is a Rotary coin. On the back is the four-way test, which we think applies to the community and to all businesses in general, so take a look at it, and please come back again. Congratulations again on the Air Wisconsin announcement. That's tremendous. Great news for our community, so it's good to be in Columbia right now. President-elect Louisa, who do we have coming next week?
I need the microphone. Can you hear me? We have Bill Ellen and Scott Powers, who are going to talk to us about hosting the NCAA regionals in March. So it should be a great program. Come and bring a guest.
Yeah. Thank you, Louisa. Yeah, another great program, really exciting time for our community. So we will stand and close in song.